Troubling times. Hey guys, DFG here, Gideon's Flight. Hey, I'm kind of hesitant about doing this particular video, and I'm going to tell you why. Uh, and it's mainly because of a dream. And I know that you can probably go onto any platform and you'll find someone talking about a dream, and that Yahuwah, they'll probably say God, gave them, Yeshua, they'll probably say Jesus gave them. And most of the time, it's you could, it's hard to believe what they said. It really is. And a good portion of the time, if you go back and look over the period of time since those, after those videos or after those so-called dreams or prophecies that they have uh, professed to have gotten from the Most High, you'll notice that the time has come and gone and nothing happened, and they never come back, obviously, to validate it. And our scriptures tells us that if a prophet, excuse me, if a prophet, makes a, we'll call it a prediction, but it's not a prediction. If he prophesies something that is going to happen and it does not happen, then count that prophet as a lying prophet. In other words, that prophet did not hear from the Most High. So, that's the backdrop of why I'm always, very, very apprehensive when someone on a video gives a dream message, and is why also I take extra careful precautions before I will take and make a statement, public statement, saying that I believe that I got a dream or a vision or a prophecy from the Most High, because I know that, as with all of them, it also applies to me. I would be held accountable if that dream did not come from the Most High. And I'm the type of man who loves Yahuwah so much that I don't have a problem with accepting my faults. But the one problem I do have in terms of a fault, that is, to blaspheme the Most High, because my love for the Most High is uncompromising. I have no, there is no middle ground. There is no space between that love. I expect, that I know when my time expires, I expect to meet the Most High, and I expect to be held accountable for anything that I've said and done that are in violations of His plan, for my life, the purpose for my life. So I'm not in the business of, saying irresponsible things and pinning it to, a vision or prophecy from the Most High. Now, with that said, I'm going to get into two things. First, I'm going to validate that the Most High will give people visions and will give people dreams, okay? Because that's important, because I'm not here to say that because someone gives a prophecy or a vision or a dream that the Most High didn't give it to them. That's not what I said, and maybe no one assumed that's what I said. But in case you did, then I want to remind you that's not what I said. I said if it does not come to pass, then count that person as a lying prophet. If what they say does not come to pass, they lied. Okay? If it comes to pass, then, you validate that and call that a prophetic word from the Most High. It doesn't make them special people. It just says they were a vessel that was used at that particular time to bring forth a word that we all needed to hear. And we need to, obviously praise Yahuwah for that, to the glory of utilization of that man or woman according to Scripture or what's written in our book. Okay? So I'm going to go to the book, and then I'm going to get right to the dream. The dream is short, so I won't be talking long. Okay? And I'm going to take you to the book of Acts, just so you know where I'm reading from. It's Acts chapter 2, and it's verse 17. And it says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days, said Yahuwah, I will pour out my Rahu, or spirit, upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams." Okay? Now, that's just to give you, it says in the last days that this would actually happen. that he would give prophetic words to men and women, and that young men would have visions. It's interesting. He said young men and didn't say, women would have the vision, but women and men, he said, would prophesy. In other words, they would get a revelation or a word from the Most High. But he said the young men would have visions, and the old men will dream dreams. That would be your elders. That would be guys, in my group, okay? We would dream dreams. So here's the dream, okay? Getting right to it. I dreamt last night that I was in this. I think I was visiting some friends, people that I couldn't quite identify in the dream, but I know they were friends because it was a very comfortable environment, and we were sitting and we were socializing, and we were watching a football game, I believe it was. And as the game was going on, someone said to me, "Did you notice the mural behind you? A mural is like that's not a mural behind me, but a mural is like a big picture. You know what I'm saying? It's art, but a large art. You see murals on walls, buildings, things like that. Just so you know what I mean. And that's because that Southern slang might throw you off. But they asked me, did I see the mural that was behind me? And I looked back and I said, yeah, I saw it, but I didn't pay any close attention to it. I just happened to notice it. They told me to turn around and look again, and look at it closely. So I turned around and I looked at it very closely, and I realized that inside the mural, what the mural was a reflection of, there was this wall, and the wall had like a road. It's almost like the wall of China. There was that kind of wall, but there was a road. The wall, you can actually walk on top of the wall. And on one side of the wall, there were these two black men, so-called, African Americans, Hebrew Israelites. These two black men, young men, and they were looking at each other with viciousness. I mean, you could tell they were at war with each other. In other words, they weren't that look when you get two men arguing who hate each other, that hatefulness when you see two men about to become physically violent with one another. If you're from our communities, you know that look. And these two young men were looking at each other like that. And you can tell that they wanted to kill the other. And on the other side of the wall, that these two men did not notice, but there was this big crowd of people, you know what I'm saying, who did not look like these. There was a big crowd of people. I mean, an innumerable amount of people that you could not even number. And they were on the other side of the wall, unbeknownst to these two men who were looking at each other to kill each other. And they had weapons of war in their hand. And they were stacked so high that their weapons of war that they had were higher than the wall. And they were getting ready to come over that wall. And they were coming over that wall to attack those who were on the side of the wall, where these two men who were so busy looking at each other with viciousness and violence that they didn't notice that their time was about to end. And I thought that very peculiar. I'm like, why would I have that dream? But then, I'm sorry, I'm skipping another part of the dream. So they didn't notice this big vicious, mob that was on the other side about to come over that wall to them, and who were waiting for the right signal to come over that wall to attack everything on the side of the wall where these two men were. And so then in my dream, I got up, and after I realized what was on the wall, so I got up and I went to the restroom. In this part of it, and I hope this does not sound gross. I'm just telling you what I dreamt. And why it came out this way, I cannot say. But I went to the restroom, and and I guess the right word to say, okay, for bodily fluids, okay, was blood, all blood. And then I awakened from that dream. Now, again, the significance of that dream, I can't say, for sure. I think it was a message. And And, my natural knowledge would say, well, it's easy to interpret that, DFG. I mean, it seems to me that, there's going to be some type of vicious act against, people of color, here in America, coming soon. And it's going to be bloody. Now, that would be my natural, insight, understanding. And maybe that's the spiritual, revelation of the dream. Some of you, those of you who understand interpretations of dreams, maybe you see something different. If you do, share it in the comment section, not necessarily for me, but for others who may be curious as well. But that was the dream that I had. It didn't say a timeline, anything like that. It just said, it was just a warning. And it was, it was like the handwriting on the wall. I guess that was the mural. And to look into it and to not see it naturally, but having to take a close look at it and focus on it, and then realize the danger that, those men were in, and they were so consumed with hating each other, they did not realize that their true enemy was on the other side of that wall. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. And thanks for listening. But it was, it was just a dream, or maybe not. Bye now.